You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. A big no. Narcissists invariably don't like being told no. It's not the worst thing that can happen to a narcissist. The worst thing to happen to a narcissist is that you wound a narcissist, which means you don't give us any fuel whatsoever. And therefore, for instance, if you ignore us, don't answer the phone, you walk away from us, you don't respond to a text message, those are all instances of wounding, which are particularly problematic for a narcissist because they're a double whammy of issues. 1, no fuel. 2, you've threatened our sense of control. Nevertheless, where a narcissist is told no, whilst some fuel has been provided to us, the main issue is that there is a threat to our control. The answer should always be yes. Of course you can. Of course I will. Absolutely. Walk this way. Go where you want. Do whatever you please. The narcissist believes that he or she ought to be access all areas, and it's the same with Harry's wife. She really doesn't understand why anybody will say no to her. After all, she is the great and amazing Harry's wife. St. Harry's wife of all matters empathic, the Empress of Woke, the Duchess of Industrial Beige, although of course she doesn't see herself that way. She regards herself as this kind, empathic soul that goes around aiding the downtrodden whilst ensuring everybody understands how they should live their lives, and that there's nothing wrong with her being a hypocritical, prescriptive individual. But she suffered a blow because somebody has said no. Newsweek, with an article by James Crawford Smith, tells us Harry's wife suffers legal blow over her podcast. Oh dear. Yes, that shitty beige aberration which made an appearance in late summer, which provided us with vast entertainment, as it was quite clearly Harry's wife just going through all of the things that people had said about her, and she was trying to settle the score, while she engaged in fridge magnet platitudes and a load of beige blancmange. Nevertheless, she believed that it was a groundbreaking series of podcasts well worth the money, as she rambled on, telling porky pies, acquiring character traits, utilising other people's material, and making it seem, as she talked in her breathy telephone sex operator voice, that she was somehow mystifying. It provided us, of course, with hilarious moments, such as her being called a diva by Mariah Carey, where some knock-on-knock action occurred, with Mariah succeeding and winning, which caused, of course, Harry's wife to sneak back into the studio and engage in some editing for the purposes of trying to suggest, what, she call me a diva? Me, the most non-diva person on the planet? But she meant it in terms of how beautiful and wonderful I am, so everything is all okay. I interpreted all of this for you, and it of course provided us all with hilarious entertainment at her pathetic behaviours. But here she's suffered another blow. Harry's wife has been dealt a legal blow over her shit podcast. They've written hit, but I'm going to call it shit because that's more accurate. Over her shit podcast, as the United States Patent and Trademark Office has refused her application to trademark the word archetypes. In a non-final action filed on January the 18th, the Royals podcast production company, Archwell Audio, was informed that its application was being refused on the grounds that there was a likelihood of confusion with a trademark already in existence. Yes, somebody had got in first to use archetypes, and because her series is so bland and beige, it isn't sufficiently distinct of itself to be seen as separate from the other trademark, thus leading to the potential for confusion. Imagine that. Harry's wife, who thinks that she's utterly unique, that she is so noticeable and stand out, isn't, that she could be mistaken for something else. I'm not sure that the other trademark is going to be particularly pleased about having a potential confusion by association with such a shitty show, but there we are. Harry's wife announced her archetypes, when of course she meant stereotypes, but that doesn't have arch in it, She announced her Archetypes shitcast, which aimed to dissect, explore and subvert the labels that try to hold women back, i.e. Harry's wife, in the spring of 2022, releasing weekly instalments of Arstros beginning that August. Archetypes as a name holds significance to both Harry's wife and Prince Harry for a number of reasons. As a product, it links directly to the couple's Archewell organisation, founded in 2020. In a statement announcing Archewell's formation, the couple explained that the name had long been something they considered, and in part it inspired the name of their son, Archie Mountbatten Windsor. So lucky for you, Archie, you got named after a foundation. See how much they care about you? Before Sussex Royal, the couple's previous non-profit organisation, came the idea of Archie, the Greek word meaning source of action, which is quite hilarious, of course, for the Sussexes because they tend to be plagued by inaction, doing a lot of talking and not enough walking. We connected to this concept for the charitable organisation we hoped to build one day, and it became the inspiration for our son's name. To do something of meaning, to do something that matters, Archewell is a name that combines an ancient word for strength and action and another that evokes the deep resources we must each draw upon. The first podcast series ended in November, winning a People's Choice Award later that year, with no plans for a second yet announced, probably because it was so crap. Archewell Audio filed an application to trademark Archetypes in March 2022, principally in connection with entertainment services, namely an ongoing podshit series in the fields of cultural treatment of women and stereotypes facing women, aka I need to be able to assert control over people and tell them that I am not all the things that they've accused me of being in the past. The Patent and Trademark Office's initial refusal suggests that Harry's wife's proposed trademark of Archetypes is identical in appearance, sound and meaning to one currently held by US-based Project Miracle IP Holdings, who at this moment are painted black. This was registered in May 2018. The Duchess's production company has until April to pursue the application, extend or abandon it. Intellectual property lawyer and partner of the Futt Anstey legal firm, Paul Cox, told Newsweek that the Duchess now faces an important decision in how to proceed with the Archetypes podcast. In simple terms, the trademark application has at present been rejected, he said. Thanks for that. Do you need to go to law school to tell us that? The deadline to respond to the refusal is 18th of April 2023. If no response is filed, the mark will have deemed to have been abandoned. In order to overcome the refusal, arguments will need to be filed to persuade the examiner there is no likelihood of confusion with the earlier mark. I should imagine that Harry's wife will attempt to go down that route, seeking to nullify this threat to control by arguing that nobody will be confused because everybody will know that it's related to her and that she's so amazingly special. If Harry's wife is not granted the trademark, then the podcast could go ahead without it, with the current holder at liberty to decide if it infringes on their rights. It would be up to an earlier rights owner to take infringement action if they were concerned about the actual use of the mark, Cox explained. Wouldn't it be hilarious if she continued with another shitty series of Archetypes only for the original trademark owner to take action against them, saying, people are confused, they think this dross, this absolute shit show is connected to us and it's causing me to feel suicidal. This is usually expensive and as such not something that trademark owners do without detailed consideration of the legal merits of such action and what the earlier trademark holder is trying to achieve. If the earlier trademark holder does not feel that use of the latter mark would cause them commercial damage in the marketplace, they may not be willing to invest the time, energy and money to prevent its use, even if they are able to do so. On where this leaves Harry's wife and Archetypes in general, Cox observed that arguments can be filed to try and overcome the refusal or consent from the earlier trademarks could be obtained, although this may not be accepted by the Trademark Office to overcome the refusal. Not going so well for Harry's wife, is it? The world's laughing at her as a consequence of the World Privacy Tour through South Park. Chris Rock is tearing a strip off her with his Selective Outrage show. People continue to talk about her taking the piss out of her activities, and now she can't even get a trademark approved as a consequence of the fact that people see that it offends an existing trademark and isn't sufficiently distinguished. Certainly that's a very apt description that could be applied to the dross that Harry's wife pumps out. Once again, this, of course, will dent her need for control. She will not be happy about it. She will, of course, not accept it and will be blaming the lawyers, blaming Harry, blaming the dog for the failure to achieve this. Because, as always, nothing is Harry's wife's fault. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.